And we are back with the fifth segment of the GSMC Basketball Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. And in this fifth segment, we are going to be looking at the finals preview that is going to be the Dallas Mavericks and the Boston Celtics. Now, I'm very surprised with this outcome and the fact that the Mavericks were the team that ended up making the finals. I had a feeling that they would win the matchup between the Timberwolves, but making it this far, I didn't think they were going to make it this far. But they surprised me yet again. This was a ridiculous season from Kyrie. This was a crazy season from Luka as well. Almost an MVP caliber season from Luka Dončić. I say this because I say almost because he didn't actually win the MVP, but he was definitely a worthy consideration and worthy enough to be in the top three in the conversation, top three between Jokic and Shai. Now, for the Celtics side, the Celtics, they've had a dominant season throughout the entirety of the NBA, and it seemed like it was basically destiny for the Celtics to make it all the way to the finals. It made sense. The team was good for the entire season, and they were just dominant in the entirety of the Eastern Conference, and the rest of the teams in the Eastern Conference themselves, they just weren't really up to par with them. And it was really the only team that seemed to have a chance against this Boston Celtics team was the New York Knicks, and they ultimately ended up getting injured in the first round, not in the first round, but way before the postseasons even started, and that sort of costed them. Now, this series, it's also going to be I can't really say it's a rematch, but I can say it's a rematch for Kyrie and the Celtics. The last time that that Kyrie matched up against the Celtics in the playoffs was when he was on Brooklyn. He got swept by the Celtics in embarrassing fashion, and really it hasn't really been anything more than downhill for Kyrie when going up against the Celtics ever since he beat them in 5 games when the Nets had Kevin Durant and James Harden. And it's really, I can't believe that they both made it to the finals again. And it's just the fact that that was Kyrie's former team and the Mavericks are Kristaps' former team is really ironic, and that's something that a lot of Twitter is making fun of. They're all saying that wow, the script writers, they really cook with this one because again, Kristaps playing against his former team in the finals, similar to how Kyrie is playing against his former team in the finals, is kind of ironic how they're both doing it at the same time. And it's going to be a challenge. I personally think the Celtics have a slight advantage over the Dallas Mavericks in this game, strictly because of their all-defensive talents at the guard position. Now, these two, they're Drew Holiday and Derek White, they both are extremely good, competent defenders, and making the second team all-defense is nothing to mince, and it's really impressive all around. The fact that Jayson Tatum made an All-NBA first team is also rather impressive. Even though I don't agree with the fact that he should be on first team, I agree. I think that he should be on the second team, but first team, he shouldn't even be part of that. But I digress. That is just being named the second team is still impressive enough, and just being named the first team, that's just even better. So it's the fact that he's even on an All-NBA team is impressive, and having him on the roster, he's going to be a really difficult matchup for the Mavericks because I don't think the Mavericks and their perimeter defense is going to be enough for the Celtics and their high-powered offense in the starting lineup. And on top of that, I also don't see I don't see Kyrie and Luka having a good game at the same time again, simply because I have a feeling that Drew Holiday or Derek White, they're going to do something on the defensive end. I really feel like their defense is going to impact the Dallas Mavericks a lot more than they think it's going to, because a lot of these games and a lot of the success comes from Luka and Kyrie performing well. And with Jrue Holiday's defense and Derek White's defense, I genuinely think they're going to have a really hard time. And Jrue, he has his games where he's just, straps. He has those games, and it's really it's going to be really difficult for Kyrie. I mean, it's also going to be really difficult for Jrue to stop Kyrie, but it's also going to be difficult for Kyrie to score. I think maybe they're going to be able to have a good chance in stopping him. But then again, this could all fall flat on my face, and he just still has a good game regardless. But I think it's definitely going to be a little bit more difficult. So these finals, they don't start until Thursday on June 6th, so next week. And with that in mind, this is going to be a very long time for them to rest. Now, I talked about this in the previous podcast from yesterday, talking about how the Dallas Mavericks, they needed to end the series now, so that way they could rest and have enough games of rest, so that way they'll be able to be 100% come the finals and the first matchup against the Celtics. And on top of that, this benefits them, but it also doesn't benefit them because it benefits the Boston Celtics. And the Celtics, they've been playing without Kristaps Porzingis, but now that they have this huge break, it seems like he's going to be ready to play in Game 1 in this series. There were reports saying that he was already good enough to play against the Pacers in Game 4, but it was sort of a precautionary measure as to keeping him safe and preventing him from playing in that game. So with that in mind, I think this series is going to go to 7 games or 6 games, and the Celtics are going to come out on top. Unfortunately, I think this is the Celtics' time. But maybe this will all fall flat on my face, and I just jinx TJ, and TJ will be just really mad at me. But aside from that, we are out of time for this 5th segment. It was a little bit shorter than a lot of the other segments, but there's really nothing more to talk about. All we got to do is just wait and get ready for the finals. So thank you for tuning into the GSMC Basketball Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. And as usual, please remember to use the link in the description to get your comments recognized, or the link displayed below the ticker on every single show segment. That is gsmcpodcast.net. Really helps the show, makes the show much more interactive between myself and you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. I am your host, Nelson, and as always, take care.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to